So what do you guys believe are some of the key challenges that we face in the New Zealand construction industry from a digital uptake perspective?
Yeah, for me in the construction sort of sector, it's our attitude towards new technologies.
Adoption of technology? Yeah.
Adoption, definitely. The attitude toward picking up a new technology and running with it or making it work in a company. So for instance, there's software out there that's been developed by people from the construction industry to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And then you have sort of like-minded people who are open to doing things in a better way, trying to implement this in a company. And the resistance you get shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be that hard to implement something that's going to make the project more profitable, on time, make people's lives easier. Like simple things like taking a daily diary and making a digital form and having someone, they're on their phone every day looking at Facebook. You can't tell me I've seen, 50, 60-year-old supervisors scrolling on Facebook in lunch. They know how a mobile phone works. Why can't they do productive stuff at work when they see it, instead of waiting to go and write it on a piece of paper, just whip out the phone, type it in the app, for instance, Procore or something like that, and it's done.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
How many times have you walked on a site and you've seen a guy in New Zealand actually scribble something on the back of his hand?
Oh, it looks like they're tattooed.
100,000.
Yeah.
Why is that such a common occurrence?
It's man, and I guess I always got called up because I never had a pen with me on site. And the supervisor would always be like, "Where's your pen? You're an engineer on site. You have to have a pen."
Yeah.
But for me, I was, I had such a better way of doing, or I say such a better way of doing things. Like for me, it was way more efficient to come up with a system that I could document things, which gave me data analytics to do my job better.
Yeah.
Why would I go write on my hand or on a notepad that I then have to go and either remember, read over, or digitize later? So I guess your initial question is the resistance to doing things in a smarter way. It shouldn't be that hard to implement technology. So I think our attitude might be
I guess
wrong.
that's one portion of it, right? But if you look at it from another perspective, where I've run into one of the companies, I'll say I used to work for in the past, had about, I think when they did a stock take of the number of softwares that they're paying subscription for, was close to 1,000 pieces of software that they were paying subscription for.
Yeah, that's typically that companies have more stuff on the books than they know what to use, and it just dies in a drawer.
But here's the thing, right? Why have thousand different softwares that you're paying subscription for when it's not connected data?
Here we go. For me, it's having that centralized digital team.
There we go.
And this is what we were trying to do when we worked at Fletcher, was creating a digital services team that was in control of all these things and managed how technology was implemented on sites.
Yeah.
Which meant you would have different divisions, whether it be like your surveying and it was survey related software, all the way through to guys doing temporary works design and modeling and all their software. And basically you working in a, synergy team.
Yeah.
Team that works together, communicates, and it's not isolated. This project needs this software, so someone goes and signs off this thing in complete isolation of 3 roads down where the guy needs something very similar and he goes off in another direction. Should just be in a decent structure that's managed efficiently. But we've taken the whole digital technologies for granted by, I would say, senior leadership, where it's kind of, seen as toys and just let them go. So I think putting it into a structure is one of our faults that we haven't done.
And that's one of the problems with the construction landscape as well, is that projects work like fiefdoms.
Like what? Sorry,
fiefdoms.
What does that mean?
Like it's an enclosed kingdom.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So quite often you'll have a lead contractor who could be using the same technology, marauding it across a number of projects, but that technology is marooned on one project and it can't get out. So there's rather than having
there has to be a rule in every single construction company in New Zealand, right? If that piece of software doesn't fit into your software ecosystem with connected data, you shouldn't have the software on your books.
They can't even define the software ecosystem. That's the problem.
Right,
so,
okay, right?
And that's why that structure is missing, because that software stack they're using needs to be managed and looked at by educated eyes that are managing the team. And I think what Brent, also one of the influences of what Brent's talking about, is everything's cost driven. For a centralized unit to sit in a company that's not project, like linked to a project directly. So when we were doing things for, Fletcher and other companies in the day, you would have to wait to get the budget approved for a project in order to get a software or piece of hardware. And that had to be costed to that project. And then at the end of the project, that project, You know, the accountant at the end would be trying to like sell it off to the next project, which is
Yeah.
fundamentally wrong because, you know, all the equipment that we bought when we were working together, who knows where that is?
No, that's
No one
right.
knows where it is.
Yeah.
But if it was operated by a centralized unit
Yeah.
that was, you know, taking control of all these pieces of or avenues of digital technologies, there would be in an inventory in a, you know, on a smart app that can keep track of where all these things are, and you'd be able to do a bit more asset management and things like that. So
And more importantly, the learnings would be homogenous. You know, the learnings that you apply from one project, you'd be able to apply to another simultaneously.
100%.
The problem
But
with
that doesn't happen a lot in New Zealand, though.
no, of course not.
Well,
No, because
Why?
again,
Why?
because those projects are treated like small companies unto themselves.
Which is fair.
They are
Yep.
born, they evolve, they do the job, and then they disperse.
Yep.
And all of that learning, all that knowledge, all that software, all that hardware gets blown to the four points of the wind as though it was never there.
It's more important the learnings that you take out of that project gets lost as well.
Yeah,
The
that's
most
right.
important
Yeah,
thing.
well, and it's so problematic in an environment. Quite often, you'll be on a job and there'll be 300 or 400% turnover.
Yep.
You know, so your staff don't even see the end of the project because it's such an onerous bloody animal that you know you're losing staff week by week. So
My next point is like
terrible.
testament to what this is saying, and I'm real passionate about the whole centralized digital team that does
Yeah.
everything, because there's so much benefit in the concept of it, where you have, let's just take surveying for example.
Yeah.
Let's say you had 6 surveys. Now each one of those surveys has a sort of career in mind that he wants to do. You know, some might be focused in structural bridges, roads, whatever. But now what you can do is, because we have standards in this team, the way we do things, it's standards. People can sort of be interchangeable. Hey, you're going to do a 6-month stint on this project to get this experience. And then before you get bored and look for a new job, we would have posted you on another job to help you develop your career there. And basically you're keeping your talent. You can recycle them on different projects because they're all doing things in the same way because we have a structure. And you're going to retain people. They're going to get the equipment they want. And we don't then have that turnover.
Mm.
And then slowly everyone's getting better and better, and this team's becoming a lot more powerful, I'd say.
Yep. So it's the collectiveness that we're talking about, isn't it? That
Collectiveness.
just, even from a digital perspective and from a people perspective, how
Yeah.
do you bring them all together?
And not least of all that you now have a branding.
Yeah.
You know, your company does things one way. Well, why? Well, I can explain to you. It was because on this project XYZ.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing it that way on this project, so we don't have that problem.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got a linear learning path. It's not boom and bust with every bloody project that comes along.
Yeah.
And one more thing that I have to say about it, it creates like a culture in the team where, hey, I'm not happy with this thing. I can talk about it, and we have the availability to move and to do something different. Or, hey, I want to learn this thing. I want to go here. And you still keep people. At the moment, in a project, for instance, if you're unhappy with your job, you go and talk to someone, and chances are nothing's going to happen until someone on LinkedIn says, hey, we've got this new project that needs a surveyor to do a tunnel,
Yeah.
you know, for instance. And then all of a sudden that's way more attractive, and off they go. So it's very important for a company to create a digital team with a good culture where, hey, when things aren't going well, and I see this in my sort of role that I'm in now, you can actually talk to someone and they'll say, hey, you know, we value you and all your information. We don't want to lose all the experience you've had. Let's put you into something that's more sort of in your line of what you want to do, and off you go. And that's how we keep people and build that culture. But if we don't even have a structure of a digital team, everyone's sort of going to be out there the minute they find something greener grass.
So the digital ecosystem is completely missing in New Zealand. Companies don't have a software ecosystem. That's some of the key fundamental problems that we're actually dealing with today.
Lots of silos.
Yeah.
Lots of silos.
Lots
and,
of
and,
silos.
and it's not treated seriously.
Yeah, it's not treated seriously.
Yeah, I think that's the main point. It's not treated
It's
seriously.
not treated seriously.
Yeah.
Bit of razzmatazz for the Hollywood shots, and that's
No.
it. The builders have sorted out.
Yeah.
It's like playing computer games in the old days, whereas like some of the top earners on the online are gamers streaming, and you know, you made millions out of it before they're 18. But when I was playing games, I was kicked and slapped around the head and told by my dad to go and
You
do
ruin
something
your eyes.
productive. You know, go play outside. But you know, if I'd become a professional gamer, I'd be making millions.
Yeah.